The roar inside the historic Steffi Graf Stadion was building long before the first ball was struck. Thousands of fans packed into the stands beneath the bright Berlin sky, waving flags, chanting names, waiting for what many believed would be a routine victory for one of the hottest players on the grass court circuit. But by the end of the afternoon, the entire tennis world would be left staring at the scoreboard in disbelief. Because what unfolded on that court was not just another first-round match. It was a collision between momentum and preparation, between experience and fearlessness, between a reigning champion and a 21-year-old Filipina determined to prove she belonged among the elite. And at the center of it all stood Alexandra Eala. The young Filipina walked into Berlin carrying far more than a tennis bag and a racket. She carried expectation. She carried pressure. She carried the hopes of millions of Filipino fans who had watched her rise from the courts of Quezon City to the biggest stages in professional tennis. Every point she played now mattered. Every win pushed her closer to something historic, a coveted top 32 seed at the championships, Wimbledon. And standing across the net from her was a woman who looked almost unstoppable. Donna Vekić had arrived in Berlin riding the greatest wave of momentum of her season. Just days earlier, she had completed one of the most improbable runs in recent grass court history at the prestigious Queen's Club Championships. She entered that tournament as a lucky loser, barely making the main draw after another player withdrew. Most players in that position simply hoped to survive a round or two. Vekić turned it into a fairy tale. She stormed through the field with ruthless efficiency. In the semi-finals, she dismantled Katie Boulter. In the final, she faced the home favorite, Emma Raducanu, in front of a crowd desperate to see a British champion lift the trophy. Vekić didn't flinch. She dominated the opening set 6-0 and survived a tense second-set battle to secure the biggest grass court title of her career. Suddenly, the Croatian veteran was no longer just another dangerous opponent. She was a Wimbledon threat, a proven grass court force, a player surging back toward the top after years of injuries and inconsistency. And yet, hidden underneath all that momentum was one uncomfortable truth. She had never beaten Alexandra Eala. That fact hovered silently over the Berlin draw the moment the matchup was announced. Earlier in the year, Eala had already defeated Vekić twice. The first meeting came at the ASB Classic in Auckland. Vekić won the opening set and looked in complete control before Eala flipped the match entirely, using her movement and counterpunching to grind out a stunning comeback victory. A week later, they met again at the Kuyong Classic exhibition event in Melbourne. This time, Eala didn't just win. She controlled the match from start to finish. 2 matches, 2 wins. But Berlin felt different. Because this time they weren't meeting on hard courts. This was grass. And grass changes everything. The surface is faster. The bounce stays low. Rallies are shorter. Big serves become devastating weapons. Timing matters more. Footwork matters more. Confidence matters more. Grass punishes hesitation instantly. And Donna Vekić had spent the previous week proving that her game was perfectly built for it. Which is why the 24 hours before the match became so fascinating once the full story emerged. While the tennis world was still replaying highlights from Vekic's Queen's Club triumph, Eala was doing something very different entirely. She was resting, recovering, preparing quietly behind the scenes. Vekic barely had time to celebrate her title before rushing to the airport and flying directly to Germany. The trophy ceremony ended, the press obligations wrapped up, and suddenly she was already heading toward another tournament with almost no recovery time. Eala's path looked completely different. After her exhausting run through the grass court season, including her title victory at the Birmingham Open, she deliberately stepped away for a short recovery period. Her team understood something important. Momentum matters, but freshness matters too. Physically, the young Filipina had already played an enormous number of matches in a short span. Mentally, she had carried enormous emotional pressure throughout her breakthrough season. Those final hours before Berlin became critical. While cameras followed Vekic's celebrations, Eala was already settled in Germany, sleeping, recovering, studying film, preparing patterns, visualizing points. resetting emotionally after one of the most demanding stretches of her career. And then, just when things couldn't get more chaotic, disaster nearly struck. At 3 a.m. on the morning of the match, a fire alarm ripped through the hotel. Players stumbled into the hallways half asleep. Emergency lights flashed red across the corridors. Confused guests flooded outside into the cold Berlin night as hotel staff scrambled to understand whether the situation was real or simply a malfunction. Among the players standing outside were Eala, Coco Gauff, and several other stars preparing for matches the following morning. For Eala, the timing was brutal. She had the opening match on center court. Sleep disappeared instantly. Adrenaline surged through her body. By the time the all-clear was finally given, valuable hours of rest were gone. And yet, when she walked onto center court later that morning, nobody would have guessed what kind of night she had endured. From the very first serve, she looked transformed, focused, sharp, explosive. The opening game immediately revealed that this would not follow the script many expected. Eala's left-handed serve carved through the grass with precision. Her angles dragged Vekic wide off the court. Her returns landed deep and low, denying the Croatian the aggressive first-strike tennis that had carried her through Queen's Club. Most importantly, Eala refused to give Vekic rhythm. That was the key. Against many opponents, Vekic's flat ground strokes become overwhelming on grass because they skid through the surface so quickly. But Eala's movement disrupted everything. She absorbed pace brilliantly, redirected shots with remarkable control, and forced Vekic into uncomfortable positions over and over again. The rallies became suffocating. Every time Vekic looked ready to impose herself, Eala extended the point one more shot, one more scramble, one more impossible retrieval. And slowly, frustration started creeping into the Croatians' body language. The first set disappeared astonishingly quickly. 6-2, 29 minutes. The crowd inside the stadium could barely process what they were watching. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not against the reigning Queen's Club champion. Not against one of the most dangerous grass court players in the world. But Eala wasn't finished. If anything, she became even more dangerous in the second set. Vekic attempted adjustments. She attacked the net more aggressively. She shortened points. She tried varying pace and direction. Nothing worked consistently. Eala anticipated everything. Her movement across the grass looked effortless. Her court positioning was elite. Every service game she held seemed to drain more confidence from her opponent. Soon the scoreboard showed 4-0. The stadium buzzed with disbelief. The possibility of a complete demolition suddenly felt real. To her credit, Vekic refused to collapse entirely. Champions rarely do. The Croatian finally managed to break serve and claw back into the set, briefly threatening to shift momentum. At 5-3, tension finally crept into the match. This was the exact moment where experience normally matters most. The exact moment where seasoned veterans often force younger opponents to tighten up. But Eala's response said everything about her growth. She stepped to the baseline calmly, bounced the ball 3 times, and delivered one of the biggest serves of the afternoon directly onto the line. Unreturnable. Moments later, another wicked lefty serve dragged Vekic completely off the court, forcing a desperate return that floated long. Match over. 6-2, 6-3. For a few seconds, the stadium almost seemed stunned into silence before the noise erupted. Philippine flags exploded into motion. Fans screamed Laban. The young Filipina raised her fist toward the crowd as realization spread across the tennis world. She had done it again. 3 meetings. 3 victories. Against a Wimbledon semi-finalist. Against an Olympic silver medalist. Against the hottest grass court player on tour. And suddenly the conversation surrounding Alexandra Eala changed completely. This was no longer just a promising young talent. This was a legitimate threat. A player evolving rapidly into an all-surface weapon. A competitor capable of beating elite opponents under enormous pressure. And perhaps most importantly, a player proving she could thrive even when circumstances turned against her. Because the deeper you look into this victory, the more remarkable it becomes. The fire alarm chaos, the lack of sleep, the pressure surrounding Wimbledon seeding, the opponent arriving in peak form. None of it mattered once the match began. Eala's composure held. Her focus sharpened. Her game elevated. That's what made the performance feel bigger than a single result. Afterward, analysts began circling back to one specific detail repeatedly: her serve. For years, movement and baseline intelligence defined Eala's game. But on the Berlin grass, her serve looked like something entirely different. It wasn't just effective. It was strategic, varied, dangerous. Wide slices, body serves, flat deliveries down the tee. Everything disguised beautifully. Against one of the strongest returners on grass, Eala consistently controlled the opening shot of rallies. And on grass, that changes everything. Suddenly, people weren't just discussing whether she could earn a Wimbledon seed. They were discussing how dangerous she might become once she actually arrived there. Because if her serve continues developing at this pace, combined with her elite movement and mental resilience, the ceiling becomes frighteningly high. And looming ahead now was an even greater challenge. Elena Rybakina, the former Wimbledon champion, one of the most feared grass court players in the world. A rematch weeks after Rybakina defeated Eala in Rome. The next chapter was already waiting. But regardless of what happened next in Berlin, something important had already changed. Alexandra Eala had proven she belonged. Not someday, not in the future.
Right now.
On one of tennis's biggest stages, against one of the hottest players on tour, with the pressure of an entire nation behind her. And that realization may be the most dangerous thing of all for the rest of women's tennis.